Hey, Link here. Thanks for joining me for episode 118, where I speak with Chel Wong. In this episode, we talk about things like how they got into doing music and audio, some words of encouragement, games that made them want to work in the industry, their favorite games and soundtracks, their life outside of gaming, and some lightning round questions. Before we get started, don't forget there are links in the episode description that you can follow to learn more about Chel as well as the podcast. Also, don't forget to like and share the episode, and without further ado, enjoy episode 118. Hi, and welcome to the Red Tunic podcast, a podcast where I look to rediscover what makes gaming fun and enjoyable by having positive conversations with those related to the industry. My name is Link, and today I'm joined by video games composer Chel Wong. Hi, Chel. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good.
That's great to hear. So, Chel, first off, thank you for meeting with me, meeting with me. Thank you for letting me steal some of your time for being here. I really appreciate you making the time. I don't know why I said that like as if it was a business meeting or whatever. But anyway, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Before we get started, though, if you don't mind, could you tell me and anyone listening a little bit about yourself, kind of like the 411 or like the elevator pitch or what have you, to who you are, the important things that you feel people should just know about you before we get started.
Sure. So I guess if it was a professional thing, hi, I'm Chel Wong. My pronouns are she, they. I'm an award-winning video game composer. I worked on Kine and Whisker Squadron and a cursed video game called Only Cans. I also am, I guess, in the Boston games community. As for things not related to game dev, I'm also a fighting game player and I flip butterfly knives. And yeah.
So awesome. So thank you so much for that, telling the elevator pitch. Sorry, the butterfly knife thing. I wasn't expecting you to mention that, which is weird because we were talking about it before we started here. But no, thank you so much for sharing, sharing that information. Now I am curious, what is it? I'm going to ask this one. Not video game related in the slightest, but why butterfly knives? What has you like? What is your calling to butterfly knives?
They go spinny. So I feel like back in the day, I played Team Fortress 2 and I played Scout, but butterfly knives or balisons as they're called, they're cool. And I remember really wanting one as like a high schooler, but my parents wouldn't let me get one. And then fast forward however long it is, actually it was like 2022. There was some like Twitter post. I was like, what weapon do you associate with me? And I was like, screw it. So I retweeted it, and someone was like, I could see you flipping a butterfly knife. And I was like, and I like unlocked this memory, and I thought, I'm an adult now. I can just do that. And so I ended up buying a bottle opener first, which is the Squid Industries Mako. And unfortunately, now I have a stupidly large collection, and I've made a separate YouTube channel just reviewing them. The low effort reviews of just like unedited videos.
So one, I can definitely respect the quote unquote low effort unedited reviews. I'm curious though, when it comes to butterfly knives, you said you have a fair amount.
Oh no.
What like is there really that much of a difference? That's kind of the question. Because here's the thing. I've always seen people that are collecting knives. Like, well, this is my Monday carry. This is my Tuesday carry. What have you? What have you? What have you? And it's always like, why so many knives? And I'm wondering.
I also have normal knives too, and there's a whole thing about EDC, which is everyday carry, and a lot of everyday carry is like real certain kind of people. And I like to carry a lot of things very efficiently. I have a pouch that I carry in my pocket every day that I'm quite proud of, and I do carry a knife on me regularly, but it's the same knife. But I do have a collection of other knives just because they're cool, and knives are neat. But
so,
I only carry one regularly.
So thank you for that. That's not exactly where I was going, but also that is useful information to help phrase or frame the question regardless. Um, and I think you kind of touched on already, is it more or less just because knives are cool and you see a new shiny one, you're like, that's cool, I want that too? Or is there like an actual uh difference in terms of like getting more and how they could function and what have you? I don't own knives. It's not really a thing I went down the path of. So for me, that's a it's not something I'm too familiar with. So I'm asking this as a naive person is where I'm getting
Oh,
to.
regular knives. The short answer is like you really just need one regular one. Like I believe that having like a Swiss Army knife is perfectly good for everything you could possibly need. It's non-threatening. No one sees a Swiss Army knife on a keychain and goes like, "Oh my God, this person is crazy." Obviously, there's some like things that you can't carry them into, but I think it's just helpful to have a knife. Like, there's just very utilitarian. And there are different things like blade steels, so like how heavily you use this knife versus like how infrequently. So like if you just have like a regular small Swiss Army knife, the classic the classic SD, I think it's called, like that's perfect and great. I carry a Benchmade mini bug out, which is like just over an ounce, but it's like a great knife. And as for butterfly knives or balisongs, there's a lot of differences about weight and balance and length and how they look and the texture and just the flipping experience. And so there is definitely a difference in terms of that. Also, like the materials being made. But as in my opinion, for regular knives, it's like you use different knives for different tasks. Like obviously kitchen knives for kitchen knives, but it's like, do you go hiking? Then a certain knife would be better. If you are like a tradesperson, then like maybe more heavy duty knife or whatever. But if you're just a schmo like me, honestly, just like a regular simple folding knife that is like small and pocketable is probably fine. But knife enthusiasts, definitely a lot of it is shiny and like ooh and cool and look at it's integral titanium milling with I could go on the whole oh what's American Psycho business card scene, unironically one of my favorite things ever. And I do love business cards too, so I could absolutely do the American Psycho business card spiel for like several different hobbies.
So thank you. I have a better understanding now, and I think the comparison I think might be the right word here to the American Psycho business card scene. That kind of says a lot for anyone that is familiar with that scene or even is like aware of some of the hyperbole related to it, if you know if that word works. But no,
Hyperbole.
like yes, sure. I'm not too great with words sometimes, but yes, I understand what you're meaning with like that analogy because that makes sense. Like, you know, it's something that's more seen and appreciated with other people that are into that scene than someone like me who's naive and just goes, "Yeah, it's a shiny knife. Yeah,
Dude,
that looks
if you
pointy."
think knives are crazy, like let me tell you, people in the EDC community will spend like $100 on a full titanium chassis, bolt action, self-defense tactical pen for like $100.
So, I would like to know that as you are emphasizing the price of a pen, I am using a $4 fountain pen.
Hey,
So,
hey, okay, so there are like
wild to
really
me.
nice boutique pens that are like collectors. Like I have a friend who collects fountain pens, but some people are like in like the EDC community, it's like a self-defense tactical bolt action titanium pen. I don't know. It's for me a pen is a pen and I just need one that doesn't fail. And so like I have a couple of good recommendations that are inexpensive or like moderately priced, but like no one needs an $80 pen. That is for enthusiasts.
So, as someone that likes fountain pens, yes, no one needs an $80 pen. I'm not gonna. I'm full swing in agreement with you, regardless of the intention of the pen. No one needs an $80 pen.
I
It's
just use
good
a
enough.
zebra. The zebra pens are great.
Um, yes, I believe the G1s, right?
Yeah, I use a G750 sometimes, but mostly just the G310, which is the cheaper one. Um, like the F310s and the G310s, like you've seen them. They're everywhere and they're super inexpensive. And if you lose them, it's not the end of the world. But they're also
Which I think,
steel, so like you're not gonna they're not gonna break.
which is important for a pen, you know. Sorry, I'm just laughing at the nonsense of a self-defense pen.
Dude, it's real. I'm telling you, there's some preppers out there that go insanely hard with their carry every day, and I'm simply just carrying things like nail clippers and a phone charger and earplugs in case I'm at because I do audio work, right? And so there was a time that I went to like a restaurant and there was a live band playing. And of course, it's like really loud, and I'm like, oh man, these earplugs that I carry every day came in clutch because if you get hearing damage, you never get it back. And you also slowly lose hearing as you age. So people that go to like live concerts regularly, like there's definitely hearing damage where they just start to lose some of the frequencies that they can hear. So it's really important to protect my hearing. So that's one of the things I carry every day.
Yes, and you know that is wonderful life advice. Protect your hearing. Now, Jel, I do want to ask you this because I brought you here. You know, I'm not to dismiss the interest in your personal life, and I will get back to that, and we might circle back to this later on with one of the other questions. However, I do want to ask you video game stuff, and I would like to ask, like, what is it that got you into doing like composing or audio or what have you, however you'd like to phrase it for the video game scene? Like, how did you get into this?
So I've told the story many a time to the various people that I've talked to about this as and essentially my whole life played video games. I was a gamer, and I also was a musician, and so like I was a band kid. I played trombone, bass trombone specifically. I actually went to college to be a music teacher. I was going to be a band teacher, and life takes turns, and like a lot of times during my life people were like, if you like music and video games so much, you should just become a video game composer. And I was like, you can't just do that. Also, I wasn't even a composer back then. Like the first song I ever wrote for a video game, I sang it into my phone, and then I like transcribed it onto Finale. And I remember asking on like the OC remix forums because I was like one of the only places I knew about back then, and they were like, oh, what DAW do you use? Which is a digital audio workstation. And I was like, is Finale a DAW? And it is not. I was so uninformed. I did learn about Reason in college, and I didn't know it was a DAW, and I've never seen anywhere else use Reason. But basically, after my time in college, I ended up doing a year of nonprofit called City Year, where I was working in education, and I burnt out super hard. I was burnt out by December, and so I still had the back half of the calendar year to still go for a school. And there are some people that I knew in this online space, and they were casually making a game. It was two dads who were friends working on it for fun, and they were like, "We need someone for programming. We need someone for music and audio." And I was like, "Hey, I've never done this before, but like I'll give it a shot." And I started doing it, and they liked the first song that I wrote, that one that I sang into my phone, and then they kept asking for more themes, and then at some point they gave me like the dev role tag in their Discord. I was like, oh. And I ended up stumbling across Akash the Car's YouTube channel where he was talking about like, do you want to freelance in game audio? And I was like, huh, because at that point I like was burnt out of education. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm gonna be a band teacher for so many years of my life, and all of a sudden I didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, either I give this a shot or I pay a bunch of money to go to grad school for bass trombone performance and still not get a job. So I was like, hey, what am I to lose? And I then started networking with my local Boston game dev community. And then at some point, people were like, wow, you know everyone. And I was like, I do? Because I just was like going to all these events, like meeting people and just like trying to like, what have I got to lose? I might as well spend all my time and energy doing it. And then at some point, I became a person who knew everyone. multiply that by some time. I ended up getting work freelancing, and then I met Gwen Frey, who made Kine. She previously had worked on Bioshock Infinite, and then co-founded her studio, The Molasses Flood, called working on a game called The Flame in the Flood. And yeah, I guess the rest is history. I mean, I could go through it, but that's like 8 years.
So, thank you for sharing that. And I always find it interesting how people get into the industry. Like there are some people who like from day one kind of set out to try and do that, right? And that's every move they're making is a move towards being in the game, like making games or being in uh the circle of making games or what have you, right? And then in
Yeah.
your case, it was just kind of like right place, right time where you knew some people working on a thing like we need some audio stuff and like that was just your window or your door opening moment and then like you said you just managed to network and meet everyone in the area and go from there, right?
I mean, that first part with the Discord people, like that was, I guess, chance. And I was also like, hey, I guess reach out to me in like 2 weeks because that'll be when my like program finishes. Um, but the rest of it was definitely, I mean, like obviously there's a lot of luck that goes into like just finding work, but like I was going to 5 meetups every month for several months before I got my first like paid gig. And like so I definitely worked for that part. And I've slowed down as I've gotten older with networking, but like there's a lot of luck and you only get as much luck as you make. And I was like just going to 5 to 6 meetups a month. But yeah, it was like I might as well just keep going. Let's make this work because I don't really want to go to grad school.
So thank you for that and my apologies because I realize the comment I made, it unintentionally it ignores like the hard work that you obviously did put in. However, it is the the drive to not go back to school um is very real. I went to school twice, and there was a um the me trying to not go back to school the first time. I can relate to being like, I don't want to have to do this. However, at the same time, it's like, do I really like what I'm doing? And all that other fun stuff. But anyway, I can definitely relate to trying to figure out if you really want to go back to school and avoiding it, and all the work you would put into do something you would like and also not have to spend money to do things that you might like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I might actually still, depending on it. Like, I want to also like do more teaching at the university. I teach at Northeastern right now, but only part time. And I really hope that I can get hired full time to like be a professor because that would be really great. Or at least like more part time than one class. But essentially, like sometimes they're like, you need a master's or equal work experience, and I just really hope that my work experience counts as equal work experience, and I don't have to do a master's.
So I will say hope for the best in regards to that. That is a world that is completely unknown to me. So the best I can say is I will, fingers crossed. I hope that works out for you because yeah, that would be lovely that you'd be able to have um, that kind of stability and support, and then also have like the freedom to do what you enjoy doing with that freedom and stability. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Stable
Uh,
income in this economy?
exactly right. Like unheard of. Get it where you can. Um, Now I am also curious from, from your experiences and what have you. I'm wondering if you have any like words of wisdom that you would mind sharing or words of encouragement. That's the way I should phrase that. Words of encouragement.
For people trying to get into the industry or like composers or
In general, yeah. Like if it was words of encouragement, if you were to go back to yourself or someone similar to you that were like trying to do the same thing. It's kind of an open-ended question, so you can take it however you would like, but generally, yeah, like the people looking to get into the industry or what you would like the encouragement you would give to younger people or yourself when you were younger or what have you?
I guess for a few things that come to my mind off the top of the head, one is this is really difficult, especially now. Like the whole industry is very tumultuous, and job security is very rocky. But I would say the first and foremost thing is to be a part of a community and find people who are also trying to do the same thing, like get in. Part of what makes like a college experience helpful is like you're surrounded in an environment of all these people who are going through the same thing, and you're like persevering together. That's a really important thing. So I remember like being in this group that was like, everyone was like trying their best, and there are people who are a little bit ahead of you. Like similarly with college, you have upperclassmen who are like, oh man, that course is really hard, or any advice and all that stuff like that. So like, there's definitely a lot of people who have been doing this for a long time, but like, definitely find people who are similarly going through the same thing and trying to like do it, and try to make it too. And the other thing I want to say, especially, is that failure and losing, I think a lot of people take really hard. And it's one of those things, like, especially as a kid, no one really likes losing. And it's one of those things that as you get older and the more you do it, you have to become comfortable with it, because like failure is not one of those things that is the end all be all. It's only the end all be all if you quit. And sometimes quitting might be the right choice. Like for me, I stopped being a teacher and stopped. Well, I guess I stopped doing like public school education kind of thing, and it wasn't working for me. And I started to do game audio, which I felt like is a much better fit for me. Also, just like my personality and my lifestyle and all that things like that. And so, but otherwise, like failure, like is just uh, like the road to success is paved by bricks of failure, and it's really easy to only see the successes that people go through, and you will see all the successes of everyone because that's what people talk about. But like everyone has gone through mountains and mountains of failure in order to get to where they are. So it's easy to get disheartened, but also know that like if you can get comfortable with, you just, as a composer, I write a song, I fix it up as best I can, but I got to move on and make a new thing, because just the more that I do it and the more that I start a new thing and finish it and start and finish and start and finish all these songs and projects and things like that, as long as I start and finish and keep going, like I'm just getting better and getting closer to where I want to be.
So thank you. That's a wonderful mindset, wonderful words of encouragement. I understand what you're saying. I agree completely that, that it's the more you work, the better you're going to get, and the more you have behind you. Like, yes, as someone that uh, doesn't look at failure as like the end of the world, but as a possible learning experience in most cases. I yes, that I feel that's wonderful advice. So or words of encouragement, what have you. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's just yeah, it's fantastic. Now, Chell, I am curious. I'm wondering about because you said that before you got into doing this, you were playing a lot of games. You enjoyed games and like the the duality of not knowing that it's you could just do the thing for games. But I'm wondering like were there any games that you enjoyed as a kid? And now this could be like favorite games or not favorite games because sometimes they are blinked and sometimes they aren't. But I'm wondering if there was like a series of games or what have you that made you go, "Oh man, this is the thing I wish I could do." And like what games those might be.
I think one of the most heartening things was Darren Korb's GDC talk, where he was also just some guy. He was in a band, and his best friend growing up was making a video game, and he was like, "Can you do the music?" He's like, "Dude, I'm not like a composer." And he just did it, and he did like Bastion's soundtrack whips. I love that. and a lot of it is actually GarageBand loops, which I didn't realize. But like part of what makes it unique is just like this weird fusion of genres that, like, as he describes it, as frontier trip hop or something like that. It's it's wild, and a lot of the sound design is like straight up just like him messing around in a DAW, and it's truly like the experience that I went through of just like not knowing what you're doing and just fiddling about until something sounds acceptable. And he's like, also like at this point, like in this song, like the violins that I had access to were garbage. And so I made it sound like it was like on a vinyl recorder to kind of hide the quality of the violins, just sounding really like, digital, I suppose. And I was like, oh man, that's such a vibe of like what a hacky solution. And like Supergiant is so successful now, and Darren is an amazing composer. He's super talented and incredibly hardworking. Oh my god, that guy he wears so many hats. And like that's kind of the dream in terms of seeing, like, I loved Bastion. That game was really cool. And the Humble Bundle 5, man, that was a bundle. But that was kind of like a golden age of like indie games that I remember. And it's kind of like thinking like, I hope maybe one day, I know it's kind of a pipe dream to have my own quote unquote super giant games. But to have like a team like that I can just be like a part of and like do all the things for, that would be really great. That would be the dream, I suppose, for me.
So, thank you for sharing that. And like I completely understand like that kind of dream. I think that's I'm trying to think of the right word, but yeah, that's like a wonderful dream to have, especially because like, when the um I'm really struggling with the right words right now. But like the goal or what have you in mind is similar to like super giant games. Like that's yeah, I completely understand. I also think it's uh really interesting that the like learning about and knowing that side of things as someone that and I'm speaking like from how I imagine it would have been for you as someone that like knows a little more of that side of the world and like learning how it worked in terms of how like Bastion the audio, the soundtrack, what have you, came to being like that. I think that's really cool. Just because I I'm that's not my like I don't see things that way. I'm not experiencing that, so I don't I don't get to I don't have that kind of like a mindset. So like, thank you for sharing that because I just think it's really cool that like the just how all of that influenced you and like how it kind of set you down that path, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm saying it in a really weird way, but it's just because I'm trying to think of the right words.
Words are hard, dude.
They are, especially when you're trying to like make a connection to what you think someone else was saying, right? But anyway, no, thank you for that. I like Bash. Yes, I'd be remiss if I didn't also agree that the soundtrack and just of all of the Supergiant games, but Bastion, especially like just the direction that led it and like just how awesome it is. Um, and like all of Darren's work is fantastic. So like I completely understand uh how that would be like a huge influence for you because it's awesome and wanting to get to that level or like be seen at that level as well is like really admirable because like
Also,
I
the
don't
job stability, that would go crazy.
like yes also the job stability but like you know yes yeah but like yeah I completely understand what you're saying sorry um now, I am also curious, and I don't know if this is going to be like a similar answer because I can just see it possibly being up there. But like, do you have any favorite games, and like, what might those games be?
Of so many favorite games. So growing up, The answer was Super Mario 64. Still love that game to bits. It is phenomenal. It is amazing that that was kind of one of the first 3D platformers, and it still holds up amazingly. Like people speedrun that game to this day, and it's insane. Um, I grew up playing a lot of Smash Bros. I love Melee and Smash Ultimate. I used to be the best King K rule main in Massachusetts. Now I'm washed. Um, I have a desk mat right here in front of me, and it is the Outer Wilds Planetary Chart. That game blew my mind away, and it is. I still think about it all the time, and I remember thinking like, this is one of the craziest games I've ever played. And now it's been 6 years since I have played it, and it's still like I think about it all the time. Um, I loved Undertale. Sorry, my cats are making some funny noises in the back. Anyways, I played Undertale, loved it, as it kind of was, the huge sensation that it was. But also, when I was in college, I was in the Gamer Symphony Orchestra. It was founded when I was a freshman by someone who was a junior. And then by the time I was a senior, I was one of the people running it, and I was a conductor, and I conducted a 25-minute arrangement of Undertale. So that was really, that was like a really important experience in my life that was just it was just so it was an amazing experience in my life that I still my cat is so noisy in the back. I love him so much. I don't know if you can hear him, but he is just meowing a lot because he has catnip. I also grew up playing Team Fortress 2. That was my first M-rated video game, and I remember meeting people online and joining this clan back in the day, and just playing on a Highlander server. I mean, Portal's great too. The whole Orange Box was really good. I got it piecemeal hilariously. Ghost Trick, play Ghost Trick. Now it's on the Switch. Play Ghost Trick. Also, what else? There was another game that I was thinking about that was a really big deal, and no, it's slipping my mind. I guess the 999, 9 hours, 9 doors, 9 persons. That whole it's called the Nonary games, or like the Zero Escape trilogy. But the first 2 games are phenomenal, and the third game it's fine, I guess. But it's 9 hours, 9 doors, 9 persons, and then Virtue's Last Reward. Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. Oh my god, that game is good. There are so many games that I like think about that are just so life-changing. Tales of Symphonia, Okami, Wind Waker. I mean, all the Zelda games are really good. But when everyone's first Zelda game is their favorite typically, and for me, Wind Waker was my first real Zelda game that I actually played through. Oh man, I'm just like going through my Steam library now. Like, what did I play on the video games? I have so many favorite games, and I also have like a deep spot in my heart for like one. Super Mario Odyssey was one of 2 games that I just remember thinking, I am just feeling the most pure, unbridled joy. It is just joy. I am having so much fun. And the other game I remember was playing. Oh, why is my phone going off? It's okay. Sorry. Potential spam. The other game was Shovel Knight, specifically playing Spectre of Torment after my time in City Year, where I was just super burnt out. And I remember I was working like 12-hour days, and I would go home, eat dinner, shower, sleep, wake up, do it all over again. And then like after it was over, playing Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment, and just thinking, wow, this is fun. I remember fun. Oh my god, this is so much fun. And yeah, that game's really good. Bastion, as I've mentioned before, all the Super Giant games are great. I think Bastion holds a special place in my heart, though. Play Pyre. Nobody played Pyre, and that game is so good, and everyone should play Pyre. Everyone should play all of them. Geez, what else? Just scrolling through now my Steam library, but also a lot of the games that are like my favorites. I played on like other consoles. It's just I'm on my computer right now. Oh man, I guess that's a starting point for favorite video games.
Yes, that is that is definitely a starting point. So thank you for sharing that. Now I would like to note that it's funny the the amount of people that I've spoken to that have mentioned Ghost Trick are relatively small.
Play Ghost Trick. Play Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. I'm not joking. Don't look it up. Just play it. It's made by the same people who did Phoenix Wright. And even if you don't like Phoenix Wright because of like the whole like gameplay of it all, just like play it. Just play Ghost Trick. Oh, also Super Hexagon. That game's great.
I'm getting the sense that you are very passionate about Ghost Trick. That's what I'm taking away here.
I used to say, oh my god, I totally forgot Paper Mario 1000-Year Door. Oh my god, that's like one of my most like life-defining video games. Paper Mario 1000-Year Door. Paper Mario 1, 9 out of 10. Phenomenal game, great game. Also, like the other RPGs, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, phenomenal game. That one is also amazing. Super Mario RPG, great one. But Paper Mario 1000-Year Door is 11 out of 10. I'm not joking. That game, you feel it coursing through the veins of art made by other people, like Hat in Time. I used to read these web comics by GGDG, and it was called Cucumber Quest. And I was like, you can feel Paper Mario 1000-Year Door in the lifeblood of other creations. So yeah, I can't believe I forgot that one. I would have been kicking myself if no, I need to message him. But yeah, play Ghost Trick. It was at one point the most underrated game, and the only way to play it was on the Nintendo DS, and now it's on the Switch. And I don't know how different that experience is, but it's probably fine. Just play Ghost Trick. It's on the Switch. Play Ghost Trick. Play Ghost Trick. Play Ghost Trick. Play Ghost Trick. Play Ghost Trick.
So thank you for the passionate pitch to play Ghost Trick. And it's always amusing to me because it's been a small number of people that have recommended that, whether it was on recording or not. And now I'm not gonna lie, no one has made the same level of pitch as you. However, everyone has this same feeling of, I don't know why more people haven't played this. They should play this. It's available outside the DS now. Why aren't you playing it?
I'm just an intense person, period. Like I'm just a lot all the time. But I tell you, people who played Ghost Trick feel the same. Yeah, as you said, feel the same way about it. I'm just louder than them, and I will get in your face 2 inches from it and just go play Ghost Trick, play Ghost Trick, play Ghost Trick, play Ghost Trick. Actually, what are you doing right now? Get your Switch and download it. I dare you to. I'm daring you to get your Switch and go buy Ghost Trick right now.
I think I already own it. I just don't think I've gotten to it, to be perfectly honest.
I'll do it.
I have a giant backlog. I start to forget what's in there to my detriment.
Yeah.
Yes, don't we all? To our own detriments, really. You start to like look at a game like, oh, this could be. Oh, it's in my library. Okay, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's always a problem, always. But I think I own it. I think it's on the list of things. It's just part of it as well. You get to the point where like I need to stop spending money on a backlog that I'm not working through fast enough.
At the top of your list, it's not a long game. I'm telling you, put Ghost Trick at the top of your backlog. I'm not joking. It's not long. It's so worth it. And there are many other games that I think are worthy of being like in the top of the backlog, but like Ghost Trick is just do it. Like Paper Mario 1000-Year Door is a whole RPG. It is not a short game, but Ghost Trick is not particularly long. Also, Paper Mario 1000-Year Door is on the Switch too. Or Switch 1, I don't know. I meant TOO. God.
Nintendo did not do anyone any favors by doing that naming convention. I don't disagree.
Switch 2 listen, it's better than the Wii U and the new Nintendo 3DS, 2DS XL featuring Knuckles and Dante from the Devil May Cry series. At least, like with PlayStation 1 through 5. And Xbox One is not the first Xbox. So Switch 2 is kind of fine. I go, as far as things are concerned.
Yes, it could have went much worse. As someone that lived through the Wii U era and got to enjoy watching people, myself included, when it was
Yeah.
first announced, going, I'm fairly confident this is just the main controller to the console, but also being a part of the group that went, but is it, or is it the? So yes,
So
it's
Nintendo needs to stop
yes.
putting new in front of things like new Super Mario Bros. And then it's like the Super Mario Bros. 3D Land World. Like I can't keep them apart. And the new Pokemon Snap. Oh my god, that's a good game too. I love Pokemon Snap 1. New Pokemon Snap is that's a great one. If you like Pokemon, it's like, hey, do you like Pokemon but you don't want to go and like catch them all and like do all these battles? You can just like see them have fun with each other, and like here's a bunch of Bidoofs and they're making a dam and you're like, oh, and here's like with the rabbit one with the fire feet. Oh my god, I can't remember. Anyways, here's like a bunch of Pokemon just playing tag. It's cute. Look at this giant Pidgeot. It just flew in. Here's a Hoot Hoot sleeping in a tree. You barely noticed it, and then you're like, my life has changed for this.
um, Thank you.
And this is why people my whole life were saying you should work in video games.
I very much appreciate the energy you are bringing. Is the best way I can say this. And now I'm also curious, and I don't know if this is going to be a similar list, but like I'm also wondering, do you have like favorite game soundtracks? Bastion obviously, or Supergiant
Man.
Games obviously up there. But I'm wondering, like, in terms of just soundtracks in general, do you also have a
Oh, yeah.
similarly large and impassioned list?
Yes. The first hacky answer is Smash Brothers Ultimate because it's got like 1,000 songs from like 80 different games. But it's true. It's also just a great soundtrack. Banjo-Kazooie is also a huge influence for me, and Grant Kirkhope's composing style is actually a big influence of how I perceive music, and like how he does layering and like different versions of like Gruntilda's layer as you go through. That game is also phenomenal. Okami, as I mentioned before, has a phenomenally beautiful soundtrack. Let me think about like, oh, honestly, Guilty Gear Strive I like listen to in the car and I ruin my voice for it. Yeesh, there are so many good video games and I am blanking a little bit harder on this one. Oh, Journey. I remember actually when I was in college in the Gamer Symphony Orchestra, Austin Wintory came and visited our school, and at the time I did not plan on going in the games industry, and so it was like really life-changing experience because he was just some guy who like really liked games. And I remember asking him like, what's your favorite video game? I think he said Link to the Past, and I asked him what is his favorite video game soundtrack, and he said Grim Fandango. And I was like, oh, this guy is like the real deal in terms of like he's not just like in it for the paycheck, he's a gamer. And then years later, I ended up bumping into him, and he's like, "You look familiar." I'm like, "How? How is that possible?" And I don't know how he has such an insane memory. I talked to someone else about that, and they're like, "Yeah, he's like a crazy memory." And he was like DJing at the GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference, and he was playing all of his beautiful music from Journey and Abzu, and I was like, "Yo, you should play your music from Tooth and Tail, which is just like this sort of gritty Bolshevik." It's like a controller, like you can play it with a controller, and it's a real-time strategy. And I was like kind of blown away by how this was like even possible and feels good. That's a good one too. I wouldn't say favorite, but I do love how the soundtrack goes for that game. I don't know if that's a favorite one either, but it kind of whips. Man, the Risk of Rain soundtrack goes crazy. I don't know if you know that one, but it's like the first Risk of Rain was like pixel art, and the soundtrack just kind of, it's like, hey, you're on this desolate planet where every alien thing is just trying to kill you, and you basically have zero chance of survival. Good luck. And it just kind of sells like this atmosphere that I've never really experienced in other games. Man, what other games have like? I would also be. I feel like there's got to be something that I'm forgetting right now, and bleh. Melee, I mean, I guess, which is all the Melee soundtracks are in is in Ultimate. So, uh Mario Kart games have really good music. Am I forgetting anything?
I have a feeling you are going to be sitting, just getting ready for bed, and you're just going to bolt upright and just start
Dude,
yelling more.
you sent me this list, and I should have written things down, but I simply did not because I am but a fool. Um, yeah. Oh, VVVVV. Did I say enough V's? That's got a great soundtrack. Super Hexagon has like 3.5 songs, and that soundtrack is amazing. Oh man, video games, they're really cool.
Yes, I concur. They are really cool. But no, thank you for sharing your the top picks. Now the one I find most amusing is Guilty Gear because as I don't know if this is just a joke that people make or if it's the actual truth, but the guy I can't remember his name right now.
Daisuke Ishiwatari.
But his whole yeah, that guy. But his whole reason for making a game was to add a game to the soundtracks, like the music he made. Which I don't know if it's a lie or not, or a joke or not, but just based on the soundtracks, I completely believe it. If that
I
makes
don't know if
sense.
that's I don't know if that's a joke or if that's the truth, but I will say that Daisuke Ishiwatari, the game art designer, said this character looks cool, right? Daisuke Ishiwatari, director, sure does. How about you, Daisuke Ishiwatari, producer? Sure does. Daisuke Ishiwatari, game composer, can you write this character a theme? Sure. I will also voice act the main character because Soul Bad Guy is definitely not a self-insert. And I don't know if he's still the director. I think he's still the composer for like he's not the singer. There's a guy named Naoki, and there's also a female singer whose name is not one word, so I can't remember off the top of my head. I feel bad. But he might still be in charge of stuff. But I'm like 95% sure he's still writing the music, and I will sing Bikin's theme at karaoke.
um Always good to know for anyone that is wondering how to get you up on a mic at karaoke is just to
Oh, that's
put that on.
that's not a problem. Like I do karaoke and I will have my voice ruined. And the most recent time at GDC, I was at Game Audio Karaoke and I sang that song and someone else was like, "Oh man, I don't know the DLC characters, but like holy crap." And then we sang Eno's theme together cuz he knew that one and the music's good. There's like a couple of ones, but like most of them just go crazy and it just is fun to sing in the car and destroy your vocals. Yeah.
As someone that accidentally talks wrong every now and then, yeah, let's yeah, give her destroy your vocals. It's always fun throwing your voice out and having to spend a few days going, it was probably worth it.
GDC Game Audio Karaoke is on a Tuesday, and that conference is Monday to Friday. And let me tell you that yeah. Oh man, Lethal League has some bangers. I just ended up looking at my Steam library some more. There's a couple of songs in that game that go hard.
So again, thank you for the video game soundtrack favorite list recommendations at this point. I think really is for your game list and the music. I think really at this point it boils down to just being recommendations. But thank you for that. I appreciate the amount of enthusiasm and passion you put into all of it as well. It is fantastic to just
Yeah.
get to experience.
Oh man, also
Um,
Crypt of the Necrodancer and Luftrausers. Those both go crazy. I need
uh,
to stop looking at my Steam library.
you're going to be sitting there long after we're done going through going, oh, I should have mentioned this. I should have mentioned this. I should have mentioned this. Um,
Yeah.
Now I am curious as well. And I like talking about this because we did kind of touch similarly on this beforehand, but I like talking about this explicitly, because, we are more than just our jobs in most cases. And I'm wondering, outside of games, what is it that you enjoy doing? Like, what do you do to relax, or what kind of like other hobbies do you have? Now, as I said, I won't be shocked if this goes back around to the knives or what have you. However,
Okay.
I still would like to ask.
So I definitely brought up knives, and I do flip knives, and I do collect things, and unfortunately, collecting things is expensive, and that's not a good match for my wallet. And speaking of, I am into trading card games. I am really into a game called Flesh and Blood that is kind of like a fighting. Like as I mentioned before, I love fighting games. But Flesh and Blood is kind of like a fighting game in trading card format. So that's been really fun. And unfortunately, I go like, man, spending a lot of money on all these DLC characters is like really expensive. But I don't know, trading card games, the shiny cardboard, that's worth all this money. The nice thing about Flesh and Blood though is that the cards don't rotate out, and so they maintain their value, and that's definitely the gymnastics hoop that I'm mentally jumping through to justify the money I'm spending on it. So that's nice because there's like that's not a video game. I obviously do play video games. There was a period of time not that long ago where I just wasn't really having the time because I used to play a lot of games alone in like my college dorm room, and I'm at the point now where I feel like I love people and I love spending my time with people, and so like unless I'm playing a single player game with other people or playing a multiplayer game with other people, I just like don't really do it much. So thankfully I have. But if I'm just saying outside of games, outside of video games, it would be trading card games, flipping knives, eating food. I am also unfortunately narcoleptic, and so not because it's fun, but I unfortunately just sleep a lot. But that's not a thing that I want to do. But yeah, I guess those are kind of the things that I do out of video games that I do to relax. But I also think it's important that video game people who work in video games still find time to like love. It's too often that people be like, I'm too busy making games to play games, and it's just kind of sad because we make games because we're passionate about them. And I know that some people are like, of course, everyone in games industry is obviously passionate about making them, but like I think what sparked that initial passion with playing them shouldn't be lost too. And right now, I've been going through blueprints in Dark Souls 1 after having bounced off of Dark Souls 1 initially really hard.
So, thank you for sharing that your interest. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm always struggle with like the acknowledging words after when people like share those things.
Yeah,
Um,
she answered the question.
well, the problem is I'm always worried I'm going to say it in a way that sounds dismissive, and I always like in the middle of it, I'm like, ah, crap. Anyway, but no, thank you for sharing that, and I like the idea of um of chasing trading cards because it's something I do, but I don't play them. I don't have the
Good.
uh I like opening them, but the problem is
No.
the ones I like opening are Pokemon, and as anyone in the trading card community knows that is not into Pokemon, that Pokemon collectors, quote unquote, are the absolute cancer of the card industry. So like
Are they?
I
I don't
haven't.
know.
Oh, they are. Well, you might not see it with
Okay,
Flesh and
sure.
Blood. They have the biggest issue of Pokemon collectors is they do this thing where they buy booster boxes, they buy packs, and then they leave them sealed to for their collection. I'm putting collection in quotes every time because it's scalping for tomorrow, not for today. It's an investment.
Oh, yeah, I
And
mean that's everywhere.
yeah, but it's Pokemon's worse because it's all they do. Like most of them, it's horrible.
Well,
So
actually, the
like
nice thing about Pokemon is that if you do want to get into it playing competitively, the cards are not that expensive, at least for competitive play. Whereas, like, man, there's a card in Flesh and Blood that everyone needs. That's like, it's $150 for one of them, and then there's another card that you need three of them, and it's 80 each. Yeah, it's expensive.
this sounds kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh, to be perfectly honest.
Again, the things about Flesh and Blood is that they maintain their value. I also play another card game called Grand Archive, Grand Archive is made by the company Weebs of the Shore. which is just so silly and funny. Anyways, though, Grand Archive, I feel like in certain ways is kind of like Magic, but like more fun. I do think that Magic the Gathering is still kind of the best in terms of like a limited experience. Like drafting in Magic is really flexible, and I like that. I think that's really great. And the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is Yu-Gi-Oh is some insane. I'm just trying so hard not to swear.
It's absolute
It's
nonsense.
it's insane, and the way that game works is also that they just ban a bunch of cards and they just power creep the game. And so essentially, I think there's like a number, like people consider this is like Yu-Gi-Oh 7 or whatever, because it's technically the same game as what I played in 5th grade. But then like in high school, which let's say like 5 years later, it's technically the same game, but that's also a different game than the one I grew up with. And I was like, wow, this is some BS. I think that's super dumb. And then like they just kept making more and more BS things that are even more BS than the things before that. Um, so Yu-Gi-Oh's insane. Yu-Gi-Oh's whack, straight up whack.
Uh, yes, yes. I don't know a whole lot about it. What I do, the most I know about it is there are like 1 or 2 turn decks, and the first opening turn can take like 15 minutes to play through. It is insane. I
Whack,
refuse to learn anything about it because yeah, like you said, it's whack. It's not worth the
whack.
time. It's not worth the effort.
I don't
Um,
know. Yeah, people who like play Yu-Gi-Oh seriously, like there are people who go into other card games that used to be from Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm like, man, how'd you hold out so long?
um, yes, yes. You know, they flip the card over, they pull up something else, expecting there to be more text. Like, no, no, it says exactly what it does. You don't need an appendix to break this down.
There
You
are
know,
so many card games where they're like Flesh and Blood. They're like the enemy of design is the text box text box size, because it's limited to like how many words can you fit into this and how concisely can you explain something. How clearly is this iterated? I do find that in Grand Archive sometimes it's like not as clear as Flesh and Blood, which is like I find mostly like incredibly clear. And there are times that cards are reprinted and they're even more clear, and that's good. And Yu-Gi-Oh, you need a magnifying glass to read these cards, which is only a little bit of a joke, because if you haven't seen a Yu-Gi-Oh trading card of the modern era, it is straight up like 60 words. I don't know if that's an exaggeration.
it probably isn't. I've seen some real wordy ones, and I've seen Magic players make jokes about going to Magic from Yu-Gi-Oh, being like, the card says what it does. I don't know what the problem is. And being like, yeah, but what else? It's like, no, no, that's everything. That's everything. The
Yeah, a
magic
lot of people
words are
joke
all
that
right there.
card game players don't read. I can't imagine Yu-Gi-Oh players read. Like, you say it does this thing, I'm just gonna believe you.
Like, look, that would make cheating really easily. You know, you could probably win some tournaments by just being like, you don't have to read it, just trust me. Just try. I read it for us
Oh, I
both.
mean, the
We're
people
good.
at the top level know all the cards, and there's only so much you can get away with. But it's like, if I were to do that with every Yu-Gi-Oh card, it would take a day.
Probably. Um, Now, Chel, I am curious because, as I said, uh, before we got started, I do have some lightning round questions, and I want to work us towards the door. I want to let you get on with your day. I want to let you get
I see
back
your
to
list of
your.
questions, and there's so many, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do ramble.
No, it's so. Here's the thing. That's perfectly fine, but also those questions are just jump offs. It's been a
Yeah,
long time since I've ran through all of them. Um, I kind of made those questions that um, I'm trying not to say this in a negative way, but
pulling
that if
teeth.
in if that if worst to worst came about, that these questions, if I ran through all of them, would take about 60 minutes. Um, so not to use your words of pulling teeth. However, I did, they what the intention for all of them was like in the event of, oh no, um I have a migraine and I'm just failing at thinking of anything to connect or what have you, which has happened. I have done real horrible jobs at connecting, and I have fallen more heavily on the list of trying to ask questions or make joins or what have you. um so like that's more what the bigger list of all the questions is. So that's your answers and the way you answer them is not the reason we didn't get through all of them. Is what I'm trying to get at. That's perfectly good, perfectly fine. I'm always happy, especially when all of the answers are so high energy and it's fun. So thank you for that. But as I said, I do want to help work us towards the door, so that way I can let you get on with your day, and let you get back to making music or what have you, or maybe going through your list of games, your favorite list of games or whatnot. But I do want to hit you up with some lightning round questions, if that is okay.
All right.
Awesome. Now, as I said before we started recording, I do give people a heads up for this one, if anyone is wondering. I don't just drop this, hey, we're doing lightning round. Good luck, have fun. But as I did mention, these are nonsensical, they're random, and that they're no judgment. So by all means, feel free to answer them however you see fit. And
Okay.
I'm gonna open up with this one. And it's, which video game character do you think is most likely pro Salem witch trials?
Um, the Belmonts from Castlevania.
Thank you. That is a very practical answer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes perfect sense.
The
Um,
oldest Belmont, maybe. I don't know if the oldest one is Simon. I feel like there's like canonically some before him. Like he's obviously the first one to exist. But like whoever the earlier Belmonts are, straight up
yes,
in
one.
Smash Bros. Richter goes, "Die, monster! You don't belong here."
So yeah, like he'd be right up there at the burning cheering. He'd be throwing the matches, right? He'd be trying to get it started before everyone was ready. Um, if Mario was a jelly bean, what flavor do you think he would be? And do you think he'd be a real flavor, or do you think he'd be one of those trick flavors?
It would be whatever the red flavor is, which is cherry, I think. I mean, there's so many red flavors. That's kind of the answer, just because I would associate every Mario character with a color, and like Luigi would be green, which is lime or whatever, and Peach would be peach flavored, of course, and DK would be banana flavored, and so I guess Mario is cherry or apple. I guess apple, if that's a real one.
So this begs a quick follow-up, which I try not to do. However, screw it, I'm gonna. What would Daisy be, and what would Toad be?
Toad is mushroom flavored. um, I think if I were to pick one for Toad, I would say like um, he would be. Oh, burnt marshmallow is one that I like. Um, and then Daisy would be something that is also like kind of fruity, maybe. So like if Peach is peach flavored, of course, then Daisy would be something else that's she'd be orange. Duh, she wears an orange dress.
Thank you. Yes, you are absolutely, you're
I'm
absolutely correct.
so right. I'm the rightest.
And the worst part is I didn't even think of that. I was like thinking, yeah, what would you be? Yeah, orange dress. You said how you break that down right out the gate, and she wears an orange dress. Thank you. Yeah, I feel foolish myself not getting there, or not expecting that. Now I'm gonna hit you with this final one, and I I like this one. So I don't know how this is gonna go. However, which video game character do you think would most likely want uppies from a goth dommy mommy?
Oh man. Whoever Bayonetta ends up with, that twink voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. I've never played Bayonetta. I just know that she does not end up in a lesbian relationship by the end of the series. And there's some twink voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. So that guy is whoever ends up with her, because she's like what, like 7 feet tall. You said like which video game character wants uppies from a goth Dommy mommy, you said?
Yep.
I mean, that's the canonical answer, but you could make a case for like so many. I'm trying to think if there are other ones. Whoever the main character is in Resident Evil 8. Um, the boop 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 boop. I'm trying to think of more answers because I haven't played either of those games. Like, who? I don't know. There's that's that. I guess those are my answers. But I figured actually, you know what? Whoever is short that Bayonetta can grab in Smash Bros is another one. Like she just presses the Z button and then like ice climbers are both grabbed. Uh,
All of them is what you're really saying, as I'm taking from it.
I mean, like the best answers I've got is definitely whoever. I think his name is Luca, but again, I've never played Bayonetta, so whoever that guy is. And then I guess also like the small girl child who would want uppies from her, but like not in like in a little kid way because she's like actually a child. And Bayo's like maybe her mom or her. I don't know. I've never played the games. Um, yeah, but like in the most normal uppies way.
So, Chel, I will take that. Thank you very
I
much.
give the best, most correct answers.
Thank you for your attack on the on the lightning round. Now, as I said beforehand, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. However, if there was anything else you wanted to throw out there, like a cool game, what you're doing, something you feel
Oh,
more people should
geez.
just be more aware of, by all means, the floor is yours. As well, please let
Uh,
everyone know where they can find more information about you, which I'll also include in the episode description.
all right. I was gonna start listing off more jelly bean flavors for the Mario characters, but I guess I'll self plug. My name is Chel Wong. I am Chel Wong Audio everywhere. That's ChelWong, and then audio is how you normally spell it. You can check out my stuff on Spotify and Bandcamp and Spotify alternatives like Tidal, I guess. Basically anywhere. Like I just use a distribution service. The games that I've worked on, Whisker Squadron, is on Steam and I think PlayStation, and Kine is on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch. It was on Stadia. Only Cans is on Steam. I have a few other games. Wishlist, She Dreams Elsewhere. Um, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about getting into the games industry, which is Chel Wong Audio. If you want to learn more about getting into the games industry, I have various tutorials about stuff like that. Mostly soft skills like networking. And if you want to hear more about my knife rambling, that's Chel Wong Balisong. That's the first time I've ever plugged it on something like this. I think those are all the things that I would plug. Um, I guess maybe DK would be brown for coconut, and Wario would be yellow for banana, and Waluigi would be purple for plum, even though he's actually eggplant. And Wario should be garlic. If they were actually true to them, Wario would be garlic, which would be cursed, and Waluigi would be eggplant, and Bowser's watermelon.
So thank you for all of that. I will make sure those links are in the description as well. Thank you for circling back to the lightning round to add even more flavor.
I just needed. I had to get through the rest of like the Mario Party characters / the Mario Kart 64 original. Oh, Yoshi! Shoot. Yoshi could be like guava. That'd be fun. Yoshi would probably be watermelon, and then Bowser would be, I don't know, turtle flavored. No. I guess Wario could be pineapple, and that way DK could still be banana. But coconut, he shoots coconut gun.
I feel that I have left you with a nightmare thought process that you're going to be milling about for the next while. So
I'm trying to think of other tropical fruits that Yoshi could be, because I feel like Bowser being watermelon makes the most sense because it's a dark green. And I don't know, Yoshi, what does he eat in Sunshine? He eats durian and pineapple and mango? I don't know. Mangoes are yellowish. I don't know. I'm gonna go with guava.
The problem is Yoshi is a whole myriad of Yoshis are a whole myriad of colors. So I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer for Yoshi. So I think guava is probably the best answer for green, and then there could be a whole flavor profile of just all of them. So I don't think there's a right or a wrong.
There's so many green characters in Mario.
But as I said, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So if there wasn't anything else, I will let you get on with your day.
Okay, see you.
So thanks again to Chel for making time to have this conversation with me, and thank you for joining us
Oh,
on the
I
Red
guess
Tunic
to follow me
podcast.
on Blue Sky or just follow me on Blue Sky, I guess, because Twitter's awful now.
I will also include the Blue Sky link for
Yeah.
you as well in there.
I'll send you my link tree. It's got all my junk on it.
So thanks again to Chel for making time to have this conversation with me, and thank you for joining us on the Red Tunic podcast, as well as a special thanks to Ronald Jenkins for the use of music from the title track from Road Steep. And be sure to check out the episode description for links to socials, websites, and other means that will allow you to learn more about or support Chel and the podcast. And while you're doing that, share, like, follow, and whatever else you think makes the algorithm work. Thanks. Till next time.